So, speaking of current things, we always kind of do this every year. Let's talk about the new games that are coming out this year that have you, or we don't have to talk about the ones that have you excited, because I know, obviously, Jim and I, we can't keep up with all the games, but I just wanted to touch on some of the ones at least I know about, or I am a little bit more excited about. So, Jim, I mean, if you want to kind of go through the list, and we'll just kind of each, like, mention about your thoughts about it, if you have any thoughts, because as we've said many times, we can't stay up to date with a lot of the new games, so some of these we might have nothing to say, but go ahead.
Yeah. Alright, so first up, Red Dead Redemption 2, which I never played the first Red Dead Redemption, but I mean, everyone loved it, man. Rockstar doesn't really have any misses these days, so it'll probably be great.
Yeah, I love the shit out of Red Dead. I'm pretty damn far in it. My first experience to it was, surprise, surprise, getting the Undead Red Dead expansion that was a standalone. And then many years later, I got it, downloaded it for 360. So I've played through a lot of it. It's GTA in the Wild West, but there's something just... Arguably, it's the best Wild West cowboy game ever. I'm sure somebody's going to give me some examples of games that are better, like Sunset Riders or some shit. But honestly, that
Gunsmoke.
Honestly, that goddamn game is as good as everyone says. It's one that lives up to the hype. So I'm really curious. I don't know what, other than graphically, what they're going to offer that they didn't offer in that first one. It hit on everything. It hit on gambling, gunfights, wagon racing, horse wrangling. Everything you would think of in a Western movie or a Western, story, you got in the first game. So, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. All right.
Next up, A Way Out. I know nothing about this.
So, this kind of pisses me off because I put this list together. I was looking at this game, but I can't for the life of me tell you right now what the fuck it is. I'm trying to think.
Wow, very memorable.
It obviously wasn't, and it pissed me off because I wouldn't have put it on this list if I didn't want to talk about it. So we may retouch. Jim, start looking that up as we move on to other ones so we can...
God damn it.
Yeah, Jim, you're my research bitch, so just do it. Alright, so while we're doing that, I'll open with the next one. Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I've mentioned Kingdom Hearts on this podcast a few times. I've known a lot of people who love the first game, a good amount that love the second game, but what was always interesting to me is I knew a lot of females who love this game. My one ex, this is like her favorite video game, and it's funny to me because I've never played it. I've seen it, and it's not that I wouldn't play it, but I hear nothing but great things. It might have been one of those games we mentioned in the past. I'm like, damn, I never got around to, but everyone tells me how great it is. So I think it's cool. That's a very kind of unique series, and I hope they keep bringing those out because people seem to really enjoy them. I don't know if you have any experience with that series.
No, I don't have any. A friend of mine owned it a while back, and he loved the shit out of it. And I mean, it's Final Fantasy meets Disney. It's an awesome concept.
Yeah.
Again, I've never played it. It's one of those weird series that have had like 1,000 like sub games. Like there's been Kingdom Hearts 2.1.3 and shit like that. Like all these random decimal point expansions of a game. But
so it's basically Street Fighter.
Yeah, kind of, almost a little bit like that. But yeah, it's 3's finally on its way. So that was kind of almost getting to that level of like Half-Life 3, where it's like, where's our third game? So
I don't know if anything can ever reach that.
I hope to God they never release it because it'll never make people happy. No matter what they release, no one will be happy with it.
Yeah. Just like we were waiting for how long for Left 4 Dead 3?
I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah, I would love it, but we ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, probably not. It's Valve. They make too much money putting shitty games on Steam, so they don't have to make new games anymore.
Jim, you're like the Jim, cause whatever the fuck his name is.
Jim Sterling, Jimquisition.
Yep. He's like your
I'm a fan of his. Damn it. Yeah, well, we are both fat and awkward, so.
Alright. next one is a game I'm actually super excited for, and this might be one of my 3 games I'm willing to buy new this year, and that is God of War. We've talked about God of War on this channel for many reasons, a lot revolving Jim. But this one, they're very smart, and I was actually surprised. So for those of you who don't know, I'm assuming everyone knows God of War, but for those of you who don't know about the new game, Kratos is now in some Nordic, Northern European land, and he's traveling with his son, and it's basically like the same game, but now you're dealing with Norse mythology and Norse gods. When I first saw this, at first I just thought they were going with a new character and going to do the concept. The fact that it is Kratos, that actually kind of worries me, because I'm like, well, he's still like a god, so is it going to be that difficult for him? Granted, he doesn't have his weapons from the original series. He has this new axe, and I can't remember the name of it, but similar to the other series, that's your main weapon. I'm sure you pick up other shit, but you have like a telekinetic link with it. So think of it like Mjolnir for Thor. I love Norse mythology. I love all mythology, but I definitely like Norse mythology. The game looks amazing, like all modern games do, so I definitely will get it, and I hope it stands up as good as the other games in the series.
Probably would you say it could have been the Legendary Axe 3, but they just needed the game to put with it?
So people would buy it? I would never say that, so shut the fuck
up. Yeah, I'm kind of done. I mean, during the PS2 era, like hack and slash games like that, they were my genre. Like, I played Onimusha and Devil May Cry and God of War to death. And unfortunately, right now, I'm kind of burnt out on them. So, yeah, I don't really care about a new God of War. That's just me, though.
Plus, you don't have a PS4, so you can't.
Plus, I don't have a PS4, correct.
I mean, you might want to throw that little factoid in there.
That's also true. I don't have a PS4, and I don't really need excuses for, hiding masturbation anymore either. So, honestly, why do I really need God of War at this point?
God damn it. All right. Did you find out anything about Way Out?
Yeah, it's a co-op game where you're trying to break out of prison.
Yes. So, this is another one I feel like games should have learned by now. You can only play co-op with this game. Now, how many games nowadays have tried this, like, multiplayer only or, like, online only? I don't get why they keep trying this. It's actually a cool concept for a game, and I do like the concept, but once again, I'm not loving the fact that you gotta be co-op. And if I read it correctly, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Jim, even when you're playing with someone online, it's split screen, like, all the time.
Really? Oh, I didn't. I clicked out of it already.
God damn it, Jim. Stop clashing.
I'm not clashing.
So, yeah, I think
keep it on the chat.
I think that's another gimmick of the game. And, guess that's trying to be stylistic and cool. I don't know if that's going to work. But that's a game, like, Jim and I liked playing Army of Two. That was a cool
Army of Two. The first one was great.
But guess what? You didn't have to play 2-player. So I hope they have a mode that's maybe not truly 2-player if you want to play by yourself and go through it. But I like that idea, and it's actually one I'm shocked you don't see more of, like breaking out of prison. How many movies and shows are about that shit? So, yeah. The next one I already know you know nothing about, so I'll just talk about it. Metro Exodus.
I know of the Metro series. I never played it, though.
First-person horror series. I don't need to tell you guys. Post-apocalyptic world in Russia, and there's mutant.
More survival-based, too.
Yeah. So, just a continuation of that. That's another one. I'm just glad there's a horror genre, or a horror series that's continuing on. I always liked the games. I mean, I wouldn't say loved, but they have enough of a following to keep going, so good for them.
Yeah, they were that, like, surprise hit of the last generation.
Yeah, exactly. Next game, this is my second game of the probably 3 games I'll get this year, but Far Cry 5. I've played Far Cry 3 and Far Cry Primal. I think I just downloaded Far Cry 4, but I said from the time I played Far Cry 3, even though I had read plenty of the, reviews on it, calling it the Skyrim with guns, I never took to it too much until I actually sat down and spent a few hours. I love the shit out of the game. Has had some of the craziest villains in the game, had a lot of interesting gameplay mechanics for a first-person shooter, and really more of a RPG. But Primal was awesome. 5 is just a return to guns, but it's set in America, which makes it unique, because everywhere else is always an exotic location. And now you can have a dog go retrieve guns from people. So it's a game that I already can guarantee you will probably win FPS of the year or RPG of the year. It'll probably be great, so definitely going to get that.
Yeah, people love the shit out of their Far Cry games, so that'll be one that I'll pick that up for cheap and play it. That's probably not a must-buy for me, but that's one I like to get to eventually.
Yeah, that's a series, I think. That series is a perfect one. Do you ever start playing a series and you're actually mad you didn't start it earlier in your life? You're like, God damn it, this is too good.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember the last time that happened, but I have had that happen before.
Yeah. But yeah. So the next game is going to be just like that Way Out, Anthem. I don't remember what the hell the game is about, but I put it on there for a reason.
One I never heard of.
So
I'll look it up.
Do your research. Next one, don't have to say much about it. I think Jim and I are in unison. This is going to be one of the flagship good PS4 games. It's the new Spider-Man. It looks like a return to the Spider-Man style that made those games so much fun, going around New York, but now it's all high def. Looks like a great Spider-Man game. I'll probably wait till it's cheap or I see some decent reviews for it, because at this point there's so many Spider-Man games out there that use the same formula. I want something a little more out of it than just what we've seen before, if I'm going to be willing to buy it.
Let's see here. Spider-Man games are always, for the most part, they're at least solid, so yeah, I'll wait and see what people say about it, and if it's good, I'll pick it up. I need an open-world game for this generation, so. Anthem. Shared world action RPG. You and your friends are freelancers, the bold few with the courage to leave civilization behind, explore a landscape of primeval beauty, and confront the dangers you find.
Yeah, that's going to be... I think that's the people... Keep that article open, because I think that's the people...
It's BioWare.
Yeah, so...
They did Mass Effect, for those who don't know.
Yeah, they're going to be... That's kind of take the idea of Destiny, Mass Effect... They're kind of doing that open world style again, so that'll probably be the big open world game of the year, at least talked about, kind of like Horizon Dawn. Sea of Thieves. Not much to say about this. It's you're on a pirate ship, and I didn't read much about it. I know you just go around, you can sail the world and loot shit. It's a game that's getting a bunch of really interesting hype, and I think this is going to be the big bust of the year. I think similar to oh my god, why am I drawing a goddamn blank? What was that really big bust game? The game I have for goddamn PS4, the space exploration one.
Oh,
whoa. I don't know why I couldn't think about that. But that game, it seemed to be so much greater. It just was a bust. Not that it's not fun, not that some people don't enjoy it, but I think that's going to be the bust of this year. So that's my bust prediction.
You know what? There seems to be almost every year a pirate game that tries to come out and give you that open world pirate experience, and they all seem to fall on their face. So
yeah,
I hope this lives up to it, but there's not a good track record right now, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, actually, that would be a good topic we'll have to talk about in the future. Is what probably is the best pirate game?
Ooh, God.
But we'll save that for a future one.
We'll have to think about that, yeah.
And then the last one, there's a series I know nothing about. I'm pretty sure you don't either. But it's obviously going to be a big game, which is the Monster Hunter World. It's a game that all the Monster Hunters I really want to play. I just never got around, and this is another one.
Same
Looks
here.
great. I'm sure it is great. I'm pissed off I haven't had a chance to play, but it's going to be another huge game. I probably say between that and Anthem is going to be your argument for best open world. Maybe that'll like
Yeah,
get
and
best action game.
And Monster Hunter's always had, like, they have such a fanatical fan base. And
huge.
for those who don't know, it's basically like you're going around trying to slay all these giant monsters. It's a
Would you say you're
action
hunting
RPG
monsters?
kind of game. In a world?
Yeah.
In a world.
Damn it.
But yeah, I mean, that's a series that's always, like, if you ask the fans of it, they've almost universally say it's never had a miss, really. So, yeah, I'm sure that'll be a great one. And that's one series that I've always wanted to play, but I never got around to. So,
hey, well,
is what it is on that front.
Else to say that I just said.
Well, I just had to agree with what you said there.
So, yeah, so those are, obviously, we're not saying those are the only big games, but those are ones, the only one I actually left off, because I feel like it would be too obvious, but fuck it, I'll just go ahead and throw it on there, because I think we talked about last year, is that Days Gone, I think that's what it's called. That's that zombie game that looks like there's going to be a gazillion. It actually looks like
who cares?
PUBG. That will look good. So I'll play it, Jim won't, and Jim will waste his time playing like something stupid.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so it's going to be an interesting year for games. Nothing on that list stands out as like, other than Red Dead 2 is the big, like, holy shit, like God of War. I'm going to wait and see how good it does. I'll still get it, but I can't guarantee it's going to be amazing. All the other ones, yeah, there's nothing that's super standoutish this year. At least that I know of.
Yeah, at least nothing really yet. Is Metroid Prime 4 coming out this year? I'm sure people will jizz all over that. Or maybe that's a couple years out.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I never liked Metroid Prime, so...
Yeah. Sure, maybe. That's what I'm saying. I actually don't know of it. I haven't heard. Like, this past year was obviously Nintendo heavy. I don't know of really anything that's going to compete Nintendo-wise, unless that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just get a shitload of Wii U releases in the meantime, so I'm sure they'll drop a few big ones.
Yeah. All right.
And which, just to quickly touch on that, like, the Wii U re-releases I have no problem with, because no one bought a fucking Wii U, so if it gives people
some
games
suckers
to play...
who waited much later.
I wonder who could that be, Brian? But yeah, so the people who were like freaking out and being like, "Oh, fucking lazy Nintendo," no one bought the Wii U, so let people play the games they never got a chance to before. It's no different than what the Xbox and PS4 did when they first came out. So
yeah,
you know what? Let the re-releases come out. Who gives a shit?